Do you love wintertime? Do you ever want to just get out and go hike in the snow, but don't know how? Come on, let's get after it, and I'm going to show you how to get it done. So the number one rule of hiking in the winter is staying warm. You got to be out in the conditions. You're going to have to be warm, but really the number one rule of staying warm is to stay dry. So on this hike today, it's about 32 degrees outside. We got about 5 or 6 inches of snow last night and this morning, and it's absolutely beautiful. I love to come out and hike when it's cold and snowy. This is my favorite type of weather to hike in. But how do you stay warm and how do you stay dry? My kit for today includes and starts with my outer layer. My outer layer is a windstopper soft shell jacket. This is a Marmot Rom. And the reason I chose this jacket is because it's windproof, but it's breathable at the same time, and it keeps me moderately warm. I can throw the hood up, I can zip it up in front of my face, and I can stay nice and toasty, but also dry as I start to work harder. The problem with hiking in the winter is you're in an ever-changing environment. 1 minute it's windy, the next minute you're going uphill, you're going from hot to cold. Regulating your body temperature is the easiest and safest way to stay dry when you're out in the elements. The first thing I can do to stay warm is I can throw my hood up. I get a little bit too warm, I can drop my hood down. I start going uphill, I can vent my jacket all the way out. I get a little bit too warm, even from there, and I can start to drop the vents on my outer layer, my inner layer. My inner layer is a Smartwool PhD zip up top, and then under that I have another wicking layer. That's a Mountain Hardwear silk weight. So if I get too hot going all the way uphill, working hard, climbing a big mountain or something, I can open myself all the way up and vent out all this heat that I start to build up. As I get to the top, I can start to close myself back up, or if a big wind comes, I get to a gusty ledge or something, and I can lock myself back down, keep my inner layers unzipped, and still work hard and be comfortable in the elements. When it's cold out, keeping the heat in and letting the heat out is, again, the best way to regulate your body temperature. I love to hike in mittens. I can even throw hand warmers inside my mittens if it's really, really cold out. If I start to get a little warmer, I can take the mittens off, throw them in a pack pocket, tuck them into my waist belt, and I'm really mobile. The only problem with mittens is you don't have a lot of dexterity, but it keeps your fingers a lot warmer than gloves. I also like to have a lightweight hat on when I'm out hiking. This is just a micro fleece Ragged Mountain hat that I've had forever. It's my favorite hat of all times. It breathes really, really well, and it keeps my head super warm. If I get too hot when I'm hiking, I can take it off, drop it into a pocket, and keep on going. I get somewhere where I need to warm back up, throw the hat back on, and I'm ready for action. So we talked about the upper body and what I'm wearing for the hike today. Let's talk about what I have on my lower body. On my legs, I'm wearing a pair of Patagonia soft shell guide pants. I went with these today because they have a little bit of waterproofness to them, and they're also very breathable, but they're very thin. So under that, I have a pair of Expedition weight long underwear, just regular polypropylene, but a thicker weight long underwear. I decided to go with a pair of gaiters today. These are soft shell gaiters, again, very breathable, but waterproof. I don't know if you can see in the snow, but I'm wearing my Salomon Ultra 3/4 Gore-Tex boots, and then I have a pair of Yaktrax for traction. So remember, the number one rule of being comfortable when you're hiking out in the snow is stay warm, stay dry. What a great view, huh? This is why we come out here, is to see this type of environment in a different type situation than we normally hike to. It's beautiful, but it's really windy up here. We were gonna stop for some lunch up here, but it's a little cold because of the wind. So my second tip is to manage your wind when you're out in the cold. Let's go find someplace better to camp out and have some lunch. So we've tucked down under the top of the cliff a little bit. We're on this little ledge. We are a little bit more protected from the wind. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna set up right here to have lunch, but the first thing I'm gonna do is clear out a nice spot in the snow. I'm gonna stomp the snow down, kick it out, get it out of our way so we're not so cold when we're sitting here eating lunch. All right, so we've gotten our spot cleared out. We threw our warm puffies on, so we're nice and toasty while we're sitting here at lunch, and we're gonna make some food and some tea. So while we're out hiking in the cold, we have to remember two things: to drink and to eat. A lot of people think that just because it's not hot out and they're not sweating, they can't get dehydrated. They're absolutely wrong. Always keep water with you, whether it's in a water bottle or something warm in a canteen, but keep drinking just like you would when you're outside hiking in the summer. It's actually even worse to get dehydrated in the winter because it's ultimately going to make you colder and potentially lead to hypothermia. So on this rest stop, we are boiling some water. We're going to throw down some tea and some hot chocolate. And while we're waiting for that, I have some roasted nuts for us to eat. Again, things in the winter are a lot different when it comes to your food. Candy bars like Snickers or Milky Way, they tend to freeze when it gets really, really cold out. Your typical energy bars like Cliff Bars or Kind Bars, while they're great in the summer, they become absolute bricks in the winter. So you have to keep in mind what the environment's going to be like when you're choosing your food. Nuts, they don't have a lot of water content to them, so they're not tending to freeze as easily, and you're going to have an easy time, when you're just walking along snacking in the cold. On a big day hike, you probably also want to bring some substantial food with you other than snacks. So on this hike, we are going to be making my favorite trail meal, which is Thanksgiving in a bag. Okay. All right, so lunch is ready. We have Thanksgiving in a bag. So essentially we have some dehydrated chicken, a handful of dried cranberries, and half a bag of stovetop stuffing, and a half a bag of mashed potatoes. This will warm us up, give us the energy we need to get the rest of our hike done, and be a nice fun meal at the same time. So my fourth tip for backpacking or hiking when it's snowy and cold out is just to be safe. Know your limits, know your gear, know the environment. Make sure you have a map, compass, GPS when you're going out. Know where you're going, and just realize that the terrain is much more difficult. It's harder, it's slicker. If it's heavy, deep snow, you're going to be post-holing and you're going to be a little bit more tired, and you're just not sure what you're going to run into. Give yourself more time and just be prepared. So knowing your limits anytime you're out is important, but in the wintertime, in a bit harsher of environment, it's even more important that you know your limits and you're prepared. Other than the 10 essentials that you should have on you no matter when you're out hiking, you should have that heavier down jacket, you should have an extra pair of gloves, an extra hat, an extra pair of socks, just to be ready in case, maybe your feet get wet, it gets colder, some bad weather moves in. If you're going to be trying to push big miles, don't do it in the winter unless you really know your limits. If you can crank out 10, 15 miles in a day when you're normally out backpacking, cut that in half. Really limit your hikes to maybe 5 miles or 7 miles. Cut your normal daily mileage in half, just to make sure you know that you can get out there and get back safely, because that ultimately is the most important thing. My fifth tip for getting out in the snow is to just enjoy it. It is absolutely gorgeous out here today. Yeah, it's cold. Yeah, my feet are a little chilly, but you know what? This has been an absolutely amazing hike. It's beautiful out. These are two of my favorite things all in one: snow and hiking. I absolutely love it. Whether you're getting after it in the backcountry, you're up in the big mountains, or just in one of your local parks like we're in today, just remember, get up, get out there, and most importantly, just go get after it and have a good time.